Welcome back and thank you for tuning in again. I want to say thank you to all of the recent subscribers and thank you for supporting me, and I hope that I'm doing a good job. Please feel free to leave me a comment, or if you like this video, or if you just want to subscribe if you're new, please join in. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this one. This one we're going to have some offsets and some other common things that we may have not have seen in other videos. For example, we have two places. Sometimes you'll have on dimensions where it'll say two places, or it'll give a number of places, or it'll just have typical. So if it has the word typical, that just means everywhere where it's not kind of laid out or defined. So this offset from here to here is at 5. You can assume that here and here is 5. From here to here is 5. Here to here and here to here. So instead of putting a million dimensions on here labeling that, typically what drafters or designers will do is that they will label it as a typical. The other notion is that if you have a count of something, in this case if I have two places, that means that this is occurring here and also here. So that's where that dimension is coming from. It's showing me that it's also 8 here. Once again, it's done this way just to simplify the drawing, make it look really clean and things of that nature. Alright, so before I get started on this one, I'm going to kind of make sure I have everything that I need to complete this. So it gives me an overall of 33, which means that this dimension should be 5. And excuse me for trying to draw on this thing, but that's a 5. And it means that the same is going to be happening down here between this rectangle. So that's going to be 5 as well. And we have our 7, so we know that that 7 applies here. It's also going to apply on this side to that 7. We have our 2 diameters that we're going to use on our circles, and we have our overall dimensions. Alright, so I think I kind of got everything figured out. Let's jump over to AutoCAD and get started. So the first things I'm going to do is just go ahead and turn off my grid here. You should already know how to turn this on, but if you don't know how to turn on the dynamic input, remember it's the 3 bars here to the side. And then you're going to go up to where it says dynamic input and verify that there is a check. I'm going to use the ortho function. You can hit F8 on your keyboard, or you can click on this one and make sure it's highlighted. And one of the last things I want you to do is make sure that these are your typical running O snaps. I may add some in the future, but for right now, this should be perfect for this drawing. Let's start with the line command. And we're going to draw a line going this direction at 33. We're going to go up a height of 32. Back to the left, 33. And then I'll C to close. So C, enter, and that should close it. Now we're going to run into our first thing, which is the chamfer command. Chamfer command is going to be located underneath this drop down. Fillet may be showing, but chamfer is going to be here. Once chamfer shows up, I'm going to use the distance method. So I'm going to select the word distance, and then I'm going to type in the distance. The critical thing here is to make sure that the first distance that you put in is going to be the first line that you check. So in this case, I'm going to put in 8 as my first number, right? This is going to be my first number. And then this will be my second number, which is going to be 7. That's going to be the second line I click. So right now, we have a rectangle that looks like this. So you can imagine that this goes across. When I'm invoking the chamfer command, this is the first line that I'm going to select. And then this one will be my second line. Okay? So it does matter the order that you put these in reference to the order that the way you're going to select them. All right? So and that's also going to apply for here in the front. And if we didn't know that dimension, I know we already figured it out. It's 7 here, and it's going to be going 5 across here. So right now, it's asking me the first chamfer dimension, which is going to be 8. Enter. And then the second one is 7. Enter. Okay? So remember that I want this distance from here to go back a distance of 8. Therefore, this will be the first line I'm going to select, and then this will be the second. Before I do that, I have more than one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the multiple option, which is located here. And now I'll click on this one, and that's going to be my 8. This is the 7. So once I click on it, it's going to do it. I'll do this one at the bottom. This is my 8 dimension, and then this is my 7. I'll go back down to the word distance, and then I'll type in my next 2. Remember that the first dimension that I had was 5, enter, and then the y-axis is 7, enter. Now, once again, it does matter which order you put these in. So 5 is my first number. Therefore, I'm going to select this line first. So 5, and then this is my 7. 5 is on this line, and then this is my 7. All right. I can escape out of this command now that I have all of my chamfers created. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line from this midpoint going back a distance of 10. And that 10 I got is the actual dimension of the ledge. The ledge that I'm referring to is going to be these 2 ledges. So you can see that that dimension is 10, and this 5 just verifies and tells me that that circle, or these 2 circles, are centered right along that. So I need that 10, and that's where that number is coming from. I'm also going to use this diameter here in a second when I offset this line, so be prepared for that. Alright, so let's go to our line command. And then I'm going to draw a line from this midpoint, going back this direction, a distance of 10. Next, I'm going to offset this line, the radius of my circle. So my biggest circle has a diameter of 14. That means the radius should be 7. The offset command is here, so I'll go to offset. Type in 7, enter. I'm going to offset this line, 1 above it, and then 1 below it. Okay. And now I can go ahead and create that circle that has a diameter of 14. So if I go to circle, center diameter, or in this case, let's go ahead and use a 2-point circle since that should be a little bit easier for us. So I'll select 2-point, and I'm going to select this midpoint, and I'll go to that midpoint. Alright, so I can get rid of this line now that it's no longer needed. The next thing I need to do is, let's see, make sure that I offset these lines going down 5. And let's see, do I have my vertical line going here? Let's do one more thing. Let's go ahead and use our construction line. So I'm going to go to construction line. I'll choose the vertical option. And then I'll select this endpoint. Okay. And that's going to give me the basis for when I create the rest of these. Alright, so now let's go to offset. Let's put in our distance, and that's going to be that typical dimension, which is 5. And now I'm going to offset this line coming down. And just kind of follow this around as I go through. So I'm selecting the lines, and then I'm clicking which side that I want to put it on. So I'll click this line, and then click up. Alright, and I think we have about everything we need to complete most of this, and then we'll come back in and put our circle. Okay, so let's go ahead and escape out of the offset command. And then we're going to go to the trim command. Remember with the trim command, you're going to select the objects that you want to get rid of. So I'm going to select these lines, and this is kind of the way I like to do it. I'll kind of walk it back and get certain things situated. So as I'm trimming this, I'm kind of getting the picture in my mind. So I'm selecting those 2 lines, and I like to do the same on the other side just to keep it uniform. Okay, now I'm into this part, so I'm just going to kind of trim out these vertical lines until they get to the ends and form those corners. So I'm just kind of trimming those back. And now I can do the rest of this, which is on the back half, which is trimming off these just to make the corners. So it's kind of really simple if you kind of figure out what section that you want to create and knock out that part first. Alright, let's go to escape. We can use the offset function to get to the inside of this one, or we can go ahead and create a circle center radius. But I just want to show you a little bit more with the offset command. So I'm going to go to offset, and now remember that the inside circle there is going to be 10. So if we know that the the diameter of this inside circle is 10, then what's the distance between these 2 points? And that's what we're going to need to figure out in order to use the offset command. Now this is kind of a poor example of doing this because we can easily just draw a circle at the center here and make it at 10. But if you want to understand a couple of more things about this, is that this distance, if we subtract the 14 minus the 10, that gives us 4. Now remember that we have two sides of this. What I mean by that is that that number that I have subtracted between these two, I have to divide it. So 14 minus 10 is 4, and then we're going to divide that number by 2, which makes it 2. So my offset value between these two should be 2, and that'll give me my correct diameter of my circle. Okay, so let's go to the offset command. Let's type in our offset dimension, which is 2, enter. Select your circle, and then go to the inside and then do a left click and then escape. All right, so this one is now all completed. Hopefully you kind of understand, and if you got any comments or questions about what I've done, or maybe I've done something wrong, please let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching, and please subscribe if it's your first time. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.